Hey everyone, there's a gold here. Got a few extra moments in the chaos that I currently call my life, so I thought I'd do a video I've been trying to get to for a long time. Just got something in the mail yesterday, and it's been something I've been waiting for. It's the hyphen vent chest seal. Today's video is going to be on trauma kit. Now, last year I said I was going to do an episode on my trauma kit that I put together, and I guess today is as good a day as any, so we're going to give it a shot. Before I get started, I'm going to hit you with the same bullshit that I always have to preface these videos with lately, and that's one, you're going to see shaking hands, two, the speech will be slow and methodical, sometimes boring, most of the time boring probably, but I have no control over those things. It's going to be a little long because there's a lot of information to cover. It might be technical, so in places anyway. So if these aren't, as I always say, if these aren't in your entertainment nature, then probably fast forward or next video button. Anyway, if we're going to look at some kits here. The package, as I said, that I received recently is the hyphen vent version of the hyphen chest seal. We'll get into this a little bit later. What I have here is my just do some. Sorry about that. I just wanted to get a little better view on the topic rather than my old ass face. And anyway, there's a lot of videos on YouTube about trauma kits, IFAKs, and a wealth of information out there, and I really highly recommend that you guys that are especially into tactical or firearms definitely need to get into this area also. I always see numerous videos of individuals, and they've got a plethora of rifles and handguns, and they've got weapons all over the house, and you know, they're just prepared as hell for a home invasion, but I have seldom, if ever, seen any of them show any kind of preparation or readiness for the other side of the equation. I mean, it's nice to think that you're always going to be on the winning side, but that sometimes isn't going to be the case, so you have to be prepared. That being said, there's an underlying feeling or idea as it goes that a lot of people don't have a medical background or don't feel comfortable dealing with this topic, actually. I mean, you see somebody with a sucking chest wound and bleeding and broken bones, burns, just the nastiness of the other side of the firearm. And a lot of people will shy away from it, and we need to get over that. Everybody who has any firearm or weapon, and even if you don't, if you are around people with firearms or weapons, should have a trauma kit. Even if it's what I call a boo-boo bag. This is one I picked up at Sportsman's Warehouse, and I've kicked it up a few notches. So it's a good starting point, but I've added a few things to it, and I might get into that in another episode. This, getting back to the idea that, well, I don't know anything about first aid, or I'm squeamish about it. Like I said, you need to get over it. Even if you are not trained in first aid or trauma, have a kit on you, because normally there will be other people in the area, or you're going to be in a group of people. Somebody that you're with or somebody that will be in the area will know what to do with the equipment. So if you have the equipment on you, they can use it. And if you're the sorry individual that's been at the wrong end of a weapon, then you're going to be very grateful that somebody had the equipment to use. All right, so let's see what we've got. First of all, this is Maxpedition Fight Bag. The Fight Bag, one of its original intentions was for carrying IV bags. And there's 2 pouches you'll see inside that are perfect for carrying 2 500 milliliter IV bags. And the military can use these as a convenient way to transport those in the field. The neat thing about the Fight Bag is that it's, as most things are, it's set up for moly webbing. It can also be carried hooked to eyelets or by the handle. If it's on your person, say strapped to your bag, and you are the unfortunate one, the person that is helping you can simply pop the lid, and if it's not possible to move you to get the pouch off for use, then it just peels off, right? So you have a separate, the actual pouch is separated from the individual if it's not convenient to get the whole or work with the pouch on the victim. So what do we have in it? Everybody's going to have their own ideas of what a trauma kit should have. These are mine. It's things that I think that are going to be useful. This side is mostly going to be what I consider the boo-boo side, or the first aid side, and this is more of the trauma side. And I do have a couple items that didn't fit over here that are more trauma oriented, but we'll get to that. So on the first aid side, you have self-adhering wrap. You have the TK4 tourniquet. I like this tourniquet because it is a tourniquet that a person by themselves, if that's the situation, can use. It's easily attached and used. There are obviously many more advanced tactical, if you want to say, tourniquets out there, and that's fine. This is what I put together to be portable, light, and as bulk free as I could get it. Easily upgraded to anything that your preferences would dictate. I have a stat packs. These are much better than alcohol swabs or other wipes that you might come across. These Hybostat and betadine wipes are what they use in surgical suites. These are a very effective bactericidal wipe, and excellent for cleansing the wound area prior to further treatment. This is combat gauze. Now this is actually going to be more appropriate for the trauma side. This is a Z bandage that's got quick clot in it. These are what would be used for penetration wounds, and you pack the wound with and get the bleeding stopped as instructions. Excellent hemostat for deep wounds. Now, this is more, again, of either side. This is a SAM splint. These things are cool. Basically, what it is a foldable splint. It's aluminum that's got foam covering on both sides, so you can mold this, cut this, and tailor it to whatever area that the fracture might require. Now, I like this because there's a couple of reasons. One, it doesn't always have to be a gunshot. I mean, you could slip in rough terrain and fracture an ankle, or, you know, have a fractured wrist, whatever. And most of the time, as you've seen in a couple of my videos, when a bullet hits a bone, it breaks it. So after you've got the bleeding and the trauma situations under control, be nice to have some immobilization handy. Really nice mask. This is all folded up right now, but this is for CPR. It's got a one-way vent valve on it, so when you're giving mouth-to-mouth, the old puke doesn't come back your way unexpectedly. This is obviously not necessary. It's just a little impulse that I threw it in there because I had it, and it was nice to have around. In situations that are trauma situations, there are going to be restrictions as to any oral intake of solids or liquids, and obviously this wouldn't apply. But in other situations where, for instance, say a burn or a simple fracture or something, you can keep a person in a stable condition and calmed a little easier if you keep the pain levels down. Blood pressure increases are a direct factor of pain that a person is experiencing. So you keep pain levels down. I like Tylenol over ibuprofen. Even though ibuprofen is a better anti-inflammatory, Tylenol isn't affect platelet aggregation, so you don't have to worry about any bleeding situations with Tylenol. That being said, I'm not a big fan of recommending medications in first aid kits. One is I've been in the medical industry for over 40 years, and I've seen abuse of a lot of different medications, or lack of knowledge creating situations. So, as an example, if you know that the person that you are giving or wanting to give a Tylenol or some acetaminophen to is a liver compromised individual, then you're not going to want to do that. I mean, just simple things like that. What else we have in here? This again, let me just get to that in a second. Burn dressing. See, these are things that more applicable to the first aid side, but then again, you know, it can be used in any situation. You get burned properly dressed, you get the pain levels down, you keep the patient's pressures and nervous system stabilized, you hinder the progress of the patient going into further stages of shock. This is just my boo-boo bag for the first aid side. What I did is I took a whole bunch of odds and ends that you would use in a little first aid situation. For instance, I have 5 butterflies, 6 3x4 non-stick pads, 2 4x4 dressing sponges, 2 2x3 non-stick pads, 14 assorted band-aids, and 1 5-yard tubular hold bandage. I took all that and just put it in a food processor, or not a processor, food saver, and shrink wrap it. Keeps it dry, sealed, and sterile. In the middle, I have the Olight S10 baton. I love this thing. This is something that everybody should have on a first aid kit, or even as a EDC. This is, well, you can see, man, this thing is like, I don't know, that's my hand. It's small. I think I've showed you this before. This is, it's got a magnetic base, right? So, let's say you're in an environment and you're working on somebody. You need your hands. Yeah, you can put this thing in your mouth, but it's just really convenient if you're in an area where, if you're by yourself and if there's some metal, you can just stick it to something and you've got an attached light. And this thing puts out 400 lumens, so it's no slouch. Uses CR123s. Lately, I don't know if this company I came across has rechargeable CR123s. Let's see if I can get the name. I'll get that in the link. But anyway, they're rechargeable, and they outlast any of the standard CR123s by a long shot. And you don't have to throw them away. Just keep using them. Okay, we're going to get to the trauma side. This is where things get a little more complex. We have a pouch for scissors and hemostat. You can obviously get your choice of sizes on hemostats or scissors, or even if you don't want one. Also, tweezers. Good to have tweezers. Little boo-boos. I'll get to this in a minute. nasopharyngeal tube. This is an excellent thing to have, item I should say, to have in your kit. Look into how to use this. This is an excellent respiratory aid for CPR. This is commonly referred to as the Israeli bandage or emergency bandage. Basically, this is a gauze wrap that has a not a tourniquet, but a securing system that you can apply much more uniform direct pressure to the wound and keep direct pressure on it. You could, if you had to, tighten it. It won't put the pressure on that a tourniquet will, but it will get pretty tight. This has many advantages as far as being able to use this in thoracic or head injuries, arm injuries, leg injuries. There's a multitude of uses that this is a good thing to have in your kit. Non-latex gloves. You need to keep the patient free of any further contaminants, and you don't want to be contaminated yourself. This is an H bandage. I prefer this particular. There's a number of H bandages on the market, and the reason I chose this one is that the gauze pad on here is silver impregnated, so you've got not only the sterility of the gauze, you've got the silver antimicrobial, adding an extra layer of assistance to the wound area. Again, similar to the Israeli, they both are securing bandages for large wounds, thoracic, leg, head injuries. Excellent to have around. And again, even if you are not able to do the first aid yourself, if it's there and you've got a large wound in the thorax, then you are going to want somebody to put this on. Or if you've got a wound in, or a deep penetration or a gunshot wound to thigh or arm, you're going to want somebody to have something like that on. This is the this is what I'm replacing today, actually. This is the Halo chest seal. This is for sucking chest wounds and with thorax. This is an excellent item to have in a trauma kit. You want to be able to apply a seal to a sucking chest wound as soon as possible. The packet comes with two, because a lot of times the chest wounds are going to be through and through, so you'll be having to put one on the front, one on the back. Now, the reason I'm replacing it is because, as I started the video off, the hyphen vent is the same. I don't know if you can see it on the camera there, but it's the same principle, but it takes it one step further, and it's got a vent in it. So I'm not sure if I want to get into tension pneumothorax in depth here, because One, it would be boring hearing it from me, and secondly, it would draw the video out even longer. But in a nutshell, a puncture wound to the chest wall allows the air from the atmosphere to enter the chest cavity and collapse the lung. If that's allowed to progress unabated, it will eventually turn into a tension pneumothorax. The principle behind this is to obviously plug the hole, like putting a finger in a dike, if you want to think of it that way. These are latex patches that have a very strong adhesive on the back of them. So what happens is you put the patch on the wound after cleansing it with a gauze pad as much as possible. You put this on. The adhesives that both of these companies have are specifically formulated to adhere to the chest very tightly, even in scenarios where there's dirt, blood, sweat, hair. These things are going to stick, and that's what makes them so effective. The problem with the Halo and a lot of other chest seals is that even with these on, air is either already in the chest cavity or it is still getting in, and you are progressing towards the tension pneumothorax arena. With this one, what they do is they call it burping the bandage, and there's a tab on here. You just kind of lift one edge of it and let the air out, vent out, and then reapply the patch. On this one, it's got a one-way valve on it, and I prefer that because once the patch is on, I don't want to mess with it until they get to further medical care. Even with this, you want to monitor for progression of tension pneumothorax. And that's where, if it does get to that, that's where this comes in. This is a Mojo Dart. Definitely want to have something like this, and unfortunately, unless you are trained in how to use this, it would be advisable to have somebody that is more comfortable with it use it. My recommendation is that everybody that is extensively involved with firearms and has aggressively ventured into the arena should get as involved with the treatment and of first aid situations and trauma situations, and this is one of them. Basically, what it is a large gauge needle that you put into the second intercostal area of the chest cavity, and it will basically vent the air out and allow the chest wall to not impinge on the lungs anymore. That also is going to require constant monitoring because tension pneumothorax is a very, very dangerous situation. Lastly, I have all right, the last item in the bag is a pack of Celox. A while back I had quick clot in there, and there were some issues with the original quick clots that were causing secondary burn issues, so I switched to Celox. Apparently, from what I'm hearing, quick clot has remedied that situation, but I already have it, so. This is the bag, you know, and that's what I'm saying. These were originally intended to carry IV bags in them. So in a small situation, you're covering a wide gambit of first aid scenarios, anything from cuts and boo-boos all the way up to tension pneumothorax, respiratory, you name it, burns, bleeding, anything that can cause a patient to traverse into a more serious situation before you can get them to advanced care. Well, I think I've about bored you guys to death. My heartfelt recommendation for all of you is take the time to learn at least basic first aid. If you have firearms or are around firearms, or your family members are around firearms, whatever, take that first aid and take it to the next level. You want to know how to treat certain situations that might occur. I mean, even trained individuals have suffered accidents with firearms, accidental discharges, you name it. If it's going to happen, even if you're not intending, or if you've done everything you can to be safe with a firearm, who's to say you're not going to have a kaboom? You know, somebody's giving you a bad load or malfunction in your firearm, and you've seen a number of those go south, and they can be pretty nasty and obviously very detrimental. So, in closing, get some first aid and get a good kit for yourself to have around at all times, especially when on firing range. And of all things, have fun and be safe.